So today we're going to do a little bit of mucking around in the van in the warm whilst the wife is shopping. It's Vicky's birthday, so I brought us shopping at the mall in Cribbs Causeway. I hate shopping, so we're going to make a video about radio stuff instead in the car park. And Vicky's going to enjoy herself running around the shops. So while the wife is out doing some shopping, I thought I'd bring some gear along. This is an Icon 706. We've got in here a Nano VNA. This is really quite a cool piece of kit. Show you that in a second. We've got a recent purchase, which is a CB radio. It's been slightly modified by me to accommodate power tool, batteries, but that's sort of cool. The old BAHAHAHAHA. Couple of big Milwaukee knockoff batteries and a 12-volt regulator to power the 706. And we've got here, this is the important thing, we've got here a shed load of homebrew aerials. So one of the issues that I face when trying to rig anything up to the van is we've got a plastic roof or fiberglass roof on the top which pops up, and so nowhere really to put to fix a proper aerial. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stuff a little tiny mag mount, oh, there we go, on there, and we'll run the cable through the side window of the van. Alright, so first off, is the CB band still alive? So this is an old CB that I bought. It's actually a German CB I bought on eBay for 20 quid, I think it was, or 25 quid I think I paid for it. So the deal was it had a missing battery pack on the bottom of it. So what I did is I just sort of glued and bolted some cables and soldered some cables onto it. And then I put one of my 3D printed enclosures on it, a couple of Anderson power pole connectors. And now what we can do is we can use one of these little Milwaukee sort of M12 type batteries. And then we can pop that battery in there. We can turn on the radio, and as you can see here it says we're on channel 1. So that's sort of up and running. I've no idea how good this aerial is, so that's the next part of the mission. I'm going to go ahead and put this aerial on the mag mount, and we're going to fire up the Nano VNA, which is a vector network analyzer. It basically, amongst other things, it gives us the SWR of the antenna. So the VNA has got SMA connectors on it, on channel 1, channel 2, and in order to use it you need to get yourself a few adapters. I found this guy really useful, M0MAT. I've bought lots of adapters from him in the past, and he's pretty much next day delivery, and you know, he's really good, very good guy. Let's get on, let's plug the aerial in, and let's see how the aerial tunes up. I'm just laughing to myself. Sadly we can't do that because I bought the wrong connector. I went TNC male to SO239, which all makes perfect sense, but sadly we need a TNC female. This is the TNC male on the end of the aerial, and that's what we need to put on the mag mount. So I've gone ahead and bought myself the wrong connector. Silly boy. Let's go ahead and try the radio anyway. So select channel 19. And let's put a call out. We're on high power, and let's put a call out and see how we do, see if anybody responds. This is 27 megahertz FM. 1919 for radio check, 19 for a radio check. Anybody out on channel 19 be able to give me a radio check, please? There's something out there on channel 15, difficult to hear. I don't know if that's the radio or their modulation. I wonder if they're transmitting on AM, not FM. I've had an idea. Oh my goodness, look at all the junk in here. So I think I can make a 27 megahertz aerial. Right, this here then, we've got a BNC on one end of it, and we've got a whole bunch of taps on it, so we can effectively tap off the coil formers on here, and then the top we've got another BNC. So in theory, there we go, we should be able to fit a BNC telescopic on that. So there we go, we've got a BNC tunable aerial, so we can tune the top of it and we can also tune the bottom of it here. So we need a BNC to PL259 adapter. Where's that gonna be then? Right, this really isn't very pretty, but I've found a PL259 to PL259 and plugging that into an SO239 which has got a BNC male on it. Then I've got a BNC male, sorry, a BNC female via SMA to another SMA, whoops, and giving me another BNC on the top of that. So that little lot there converts us from PL259 to BNC. It's not going to be very good, is it? Let's face it. And then and then what we've got to do is we've got to load that lot onto the bottom of this aerial here. Then we can screw that lot into the mag mount. Yeah, if the wind's strong, it'll probably break in the middle around here where the SMA connectors are. But yeah, I reckon, yeah, this is a lush telescopic aerial as well. It's an absolute monstrosity. It keeps going and going and going and going. It's huge. It's massive. Right, let's get that stuffed on the back of the van and let's see if we can tune it up to 27 megahertz. This will be fun. Well, that's not beautiful by any stretch of the imagination. Just moving the cursor here, hopefully you can see the cursor on the display, and it's showing that at 25.6 megahertz our SWR is 1.6 to 1. So that's not bad, but ultimately it's not where we need to be at 20. So this is 27 megahertz here, and we can see that we're at about 4 to 1 at 27 megahertz. So not a very good aerial, but it's got to be much better than the rubber ducky that we had the receiver on. Let's see how we do. Let's plug the CB radio in again. Okay. The older M0 MAT connectors. So TNC. It's quite interesting. This looks exactly like a BNC connector, but it's got a threaded. It's a TNC connector. So yeah, interesting. Right, there we go. We've now converted that to an SO239. And with a bit of luck, here we go, our mag mount has got PL259 on it, so we should be able to plug that into there. Alright, let's get a battery. Let's get a battery in this. Where's the battery? Battery's in its protective cover. Alright, plug a battery in. There you go, battery's in. And let's turn this radio on. Oh, 1919 for a radio check, 19 for a radio check. Guess what? Yeah, typical. Someone's playing music. Someone's playing music on the CB. It's quite possible that this little CB needs a bit of tuning. But the good news is we've now got an aerial that's at least close to where we need it to be, and and it sort of works, but doesn't need all of those connectors in it. But it's really quite interesting though, just sort of like tuning up that aerial. So that said, maybe it's time to get the big radio out, stop messing around with the old CB, and do some proper ham radio work. All right, so here's an aerial I've made. I don't know what it's for, I can't recall, but PL259 at one end of it, happy days. Base wound coil, some extra loops of coil up here, and then a screw-in telescopic antenna. So let's plug this in. It's been years since I've played with these things. I made these ages ago. Let's plug this in and let's see what the Nano VNA tells us about it. That'll be fun. That homebrew aerial is a lot more secure than the last one. Right, let's see what frequency it tunes up on the Nano VNA. Let's go from 6 to 8 megahertz. Right, so start frequency 6 megahertz and stop frequency 8 megahertz. There we go. There we go. So we can see we've got an SWR of 1 to 1.2 at 6.5 megahertz. So if we make that aerial shorter, that frequency should increase, and we could get to 40 meters or around 7 megahertz, which is probably where we want it. So let me just go and make that aerial shorter. Yep, so I've just shortened the aerial, and now there we go. If I put the marker, you can see the marker's just arrived down the slope there, just moving that marker up and down the slope, and we can see now that that aerial is tuned to 6.8 megahertz. That's not far off, a 1.1 SWR, so a little bit shorter again. Right, so with a little bit of fettling, hopefully you can see here on the screen that we've got our marker set 7.1 megahertz, and we are getting an SWR of a 1.3 to 1, which is pretty good, which means ultimately 60% of the power that we transmit into the aerial is going out of the aerial, and 40% of it is coming back, is being reflected back down the line. Obviously we'd love an SWR of 1 to 1, but there's no chance that we're going to get that. Anyway, that's sort of tuned up. That aerial looks like it's tuned up for around 40 megs. I should probably put a little sticker on that aerial and tell myself what it is and how to set it up. But yeah, that's looking pretty promising. Right, let's plug in the main radio and let's see if we can get a contact on 40 meters or 7 megahertz. This is an old beast of a radio, but it's really quite a good little workhorse of a radio. And what we've got is a little 12 volt reg, and then we've got some power tool batteries and some of my power tool battery connectors. These things just are invaluable. They are just so useful. Let's plug in the aerial, make sure it goes into the HF socket, screw that in there like that, and turn it on. Oh, happy days. Alright, let's turn the volume down a little bit. So we're in the wrong band. Let's just see if I can remember how to drive this radio. We need to go through the bands until we reach, there we go, 7, and let's have a look. Oh, we're in FM mode, that's the wrong mode. Yeah, lower side band. Well, at least we can hear a little bit of conversation. It's quite noisy. Mexico Zero, X-ray, X-ray, X-ray. Mexico Zero, X-ray, 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 M0 triple X. Mexico Zero, X-ray, 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 QRP, Mexico Zero, X-ray, X-ray, X-ray.
Conditions, but anyway, name is Alan and the QTH is Macclesfield. Listen out for you once more, G0JNJ.
Thank you very much for the contact. Thank you for the contact. M0 X-ray, 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 QSL.
Okay, Mike 0 X-ray, 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 G0JNJ. Like I say, the name is Alan. QTH is the town of Macclesfield. I'm just 3 miles outside the border of the Peak National Park here. So I didn't get the name or the, well, I know you said you're Bristol, but can you go with the name, please, over?
Yeah, Roger, Roger. Name is Howard. Hotel Oscar Whiskey Alpha Romeo Delta Howard. And I'm in the shopping centre playing with a 706, connected to a homebrew vertical whip, a homebrew vertical aerial QSL.
The 90 watts MD100 base microphone, and the antenna is a homebrew sky loop cut for 40 metres, and we're just 18 foot high down the garden. What's your power, Howard, over?
Yeah, power output is probably 20 watts, approximately 20 watts. But as I say, that my problem is it's a homebrew aerial. It's something that I made a long time ago, and I don't think the SWR is very good, but it's sort of working. It's sort of working. QSL? Yeah, Roger, Roger. Thank you so much for the contact. Really appreciate it. It's a pleasure to work up into Macclesfield on 40 metres. A 7-3. Take care and really appreciate your time. Thanks for coming back to me. Take care. M0 triple X.
G0JNJ. Okay, Howard, no problem. Maybe I'll catch you further down the log stroke P in part of the national park. Meantime, Howard, stay well, stay safe, and best of 7-3.
Yeah, thanks again. Enjoy your day. 73, M0 triple X QRT. So there we go, folks. Can you Adam and Eve it? It works. That aerial works. Yeah, I'm sort of pleased with that. Not very well, but we worked Macclesfield from Bristol on 20 watts. That's pretty good going. Not bad for a homebrew little aerial anyway. And nice to see the Nano VNA doing its job. While I was at it, I thought it would be interesting to have a look at this aerial. This is a 2 metre and 70 centimetre aerial. It's a tiny little mag mount aerial, and actually it's sort of impressive. So 144.6, which is 1.4.5, which is the calling frequency of the ham band. The aerial is resonating nicely, and the SWR is 1.2 to 1 there. That's quite impressive. Let's just move that up to the 440 band, and here we go. Yeah, look at that. And in the 440 band we've got an SWR of 1.6 to 1, so that's quite impressive. That's 441 megahertz right there, 1.6 to 1. The peak, yeah, 437. It's quite a wide bandwidth. Oops, but yeah, it's quite a wide bandwidth there. But yeah, that's anyway, that's interesting to see. That's the response of a 2 and 70 centimetre little mag mount type antenna that I have. That's quite interesting to see. That's the kind of aerial that you might want to use with a little handy like this to improve the reception of a tiny little handy. But yeah, very cool. So my dilemma now is, how do I get my wife out of that place? Can do all sorts of great things with radios, can't get my wife out of the damn shops.